everyone, my name's Danielle Scogan. I'm a life coach, a nonprofit leader, and a women's empowerment advocate. And I'm the creator of the Women's Wisdom Corner. I created the Women's Wisdom Corner to create a space of collective growth, transformation, and inspiration. I believe that when one woman succeeds, we all succeed, and we need to live in a world where women celebrate one another, support one another, learn from one another, and grow alongside one another. With that being said, I wanted to create a space where we could amplify the voices of women, no matter their background or their experience, so we could come together to be inspired and grow. With that being said, I cannot wait to introduce today's guest, who's an inspiring woman leader, share her story, share her ideas, and help get her message out there. It was inspiring for me to connect with her, and I hope that you're able to be inspired by her words as well. Today, I'm honored to welcome Corinne Hone, an inspiring leader and a dear friend. Corinne is the founder of Hone Your Social, a social media management and coaching business based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Corinne is originally from Ireland, and funnily enough, a business was never part of her plan. After a 4-year stint in Guatemala working for various nonprofits, Corinne moved to the US to be with her husband, Ronnie. She knew that in order to maintain the high quality of life she enjoyed in Guatemala and keep a flexible schedule, she needed to become her own boss. Hone Your Social was born in March of 2019, and since then, Corinne has sold out her first full-service social media management package and has moved into business coaching for creatives. Corinne believes that finding a work-life balance is crucial for long-term, sustainable success and takes a holistic approach to business coaching. Touching on mindset, goal setting, strategy, and productivity, Corinne's coaching programs have gained high praise from her past and current students. With a digital course in the works, Corinne's proven business success framework is set to impact hundreds of businesswomen in the coming years. Okay, excellent. Hi, Corinne. How's it going?
It's so good. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited to have you. I think you're one of the first people that I've had on this series that is someone that I know outside of just the business world, but you're definitely a personal friend. So it's really great to have you here and share in this space with you.
Yeah, it's so good to hear.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I actually met Corinne working in Guatemala. We were both there for somewhat of the same period of time, not the exact same period. So, Corinne, correct me if I'm wrong, did we work at Niños de Guatemala together, or did you come after I'd already left?
Yeah, I started working with them when you were no longer part of the working team. But I think you definitely introduced me to that organization.
Sweet.
So
Yeah, because I knew I knew you before, but I feel like it was just kind of I don't know about you, but like being in Guatemala for so long, it kind of all blends together that it's really hard for me to pinpoint the timeline, because in some ways I feel like I was there for like a year and a half, and then in reality it was much longer. So it's hard for me to pinpoint the exact timelines, but we did meet doing charity work in Guatemala. Even though we never worked together formally, I feel it was such a small community and so collaborative that there was always so much overlap.
yeah, it was such a tiny community, definitely. And I don't even remember the first time we met. I just know that eventually along the way we became like friends in this nonprofit world, and we kept bumping into each other. So yeah, Antigua and Guatemala was great for just meeting people that way.
Yeah, that definitely is the Antigua spirit of like, I don't really remember how I met you or when, but now we know each other, so it's great. And this is a genuine question. I'm not just asking this for people that are viewing, but how did you get to Guatemala? Like, what brought you there? I don't think I even know that.
Yeah, so I studied speech and language therapy in university at home in Ireland. And when I graduated, Ireland was in a really bad economic recession, and there was absolutely zero chance of me getting a job in healthcare. So I was looking at being unemployed, and I thought, well, this is awful. I just spent 4 years at university to study something I really, really love, and now I can't get a job here. So what am I going to do? I was looking at lots of different options, like maybe I could go work in the UK, or maybe, go to Canada even and find a job, which I know some people did. But I kind of thought, no, I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to reset and I'm going to look for something totally different to do. And I had always wanted to volunteer abroad. So I ended up in Guatemala through a volunteer program, which now I would not do again. I wouldn't really recommend to people to do. But at the time I was young, I didn't know any better. And I signed up for a volunteer program and I signed on for 3 months, and I ended up being in Guatemala for 4 years. So after that 3-month program, I kind of left the volunteerism world and decided to kind of go out on my own a little bit. Did some extra volunteer work at Niños of Guatemala actually, and then ended up working with them a few years later. So it was a roundabout way, but it totally changed my life for the better, I think, that whole experience.
And what kind of work were you doing when you were in the nonprofit? Obviously, I know because we were there at the same time, but just for those listening along, what was work like working for a nonprofit in Guatemala? I think so many people, especially a lot of the people that are involved with my page and my work, are definitely that have that global mindset. So what was kind of the reality? I think there's kind of the romanticized version of working in international development and then the reality. So what was it like for you, and what kind of work did you do in the nonprofit sector?
Yeah, so I was on the fundraising team for the nonprofit. So we kind of helped find volunteers that fit the needs of the organization. We helped with hosting local fundraisers and also helping previous volunteers who had gone back home who wanted to raise money and stay involved with the organization. So we kind of helped them navigate that. Ultimately, the goal was to raise enough money so that we could continue to serve the children that were at the school and continue to pay the teachers a fair wage and just make sure that everybody was learning and developing as much as possible through the organization. But it was a really big challenge. Obviously, Spanish is not my first language, so there was a language barrier, there was culture barriers. People in Guatemala tend to do things very differently to my mindset. It's much more slower paced than I was used to. I did come up against, cultural challenges along the way. So I think I loved the job, definitely loved it 100%. It was really rewarding, but it was very challenging. And I think you're right. We don't talk enough about how big a role culture plays in like going abroad to work. Even now I'm in the US, and the culture shock when I moved here was huge. So you just have to be really mindful of that. If you're going to volunteer or you do want to work in the development space, you have to be aware of who you're speaking to and where you are, and be aware of your own culture and your own background as well, because it does come up and it does play a role.
Absolutely. And kind of for you, I'm just wondering if you experience this. So one thing that I've become a pretty big critic of is the kind of stress that nonprofit workers are really put under, and the really kind of detrimental work-life balance and lifestyle that it perpetuates often to take care of yourself. Did you ever experience any of that in any of your work, even prior to going to Guatemala, pursuing a work in potential healthcare? Definitely, I know that they feel a lot of the same stressors. So was that ever a challenge for you?
I think that I was very lucky early on to have one of my first ever jobs be with a nonprofit in Ireland that really put a focus on the well-being of their team, and they really instilled in me how important it is for me to look after myself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So I kind of brought that mindset with me to Guatemala. And yes, I mean, certainly there were days or periods of time where it was all hands on deck and you really needed to put everything into your work. But I really tried to set boundaries for myself to be able to switch off and leave work at work, and then be able to come home and, enjoy a glass of wine looking at the volcano erupting on a beautiful terrace, and be able to really enjoy all the other great things Guatemala has to offer as well. So while the pressure is definitely there, I was lucky enough to be able to kind of have the ability to switch off and really appreciate that work-life balance.
Well, good for you. I feel like that's definitely not the norm with like international development and nonprofit workers. I definitely did not build that resilience early on and crashed and burned a lot. So, good work for you for for setting that boundary. And that's really inspiring to hear that you've carried it through. And it seems to really kind of be leading into the lifestyle that you have now of that balance. So how did you get from, you know, working in fundraising in Guatemala to being a social media marketing expert and coach in the United States?
Yeah. So I kind of have fallen into all of my careers. Well, I have only had two, but I fall into both of them. So, like I said, I left Ireland, moved to Guatemala, and then fell into the whole nonprofit world, and really decided to stay and kind of give back as much as I could, in that period of my life. And it was really through meeting people, like you and other people that I met down there, that really showed me it was possible to stay and make a life there, because I had only, like I said, gone for what I thought would be 3 months and had one backpack, and then 4 years later I was still there. So I think that that experience, that journey of just being able to make a life where you land, was really, really powerful for me and really taught me a lot. And while I was there, I met a guy, and that's why I'm in the US now. I married him, and he's from Utah, so that's where we're based now. We left Guatemala at the end of 2017, and we've been here since then. And I guess how I started the social media career was also randomly, because I moved here. I had no way of working. I did not have a work permit. I came on a tourist visa. We got married. I applied for my green card, but that is a long, drawn out process. And it took almost 9 months for me to get my work permit, I think. And in those 9 months, I wasn't legally able to work, and I was so bored. And I do not make a good housewife. It wasn't for me. I needed to be doing something, needed to be actively doing something and working towards something. So I put my energy into Instagram. Sounds a bit silly, but I love food. I love taking photos. So I was like, I'll just, be real basic here and start a foodie Instagram account. And I had so much fun with it. And I got to meet loads of local business owners. And the account grew really, really quickly. So then I was in a position where people were gifting us food, and I was able to connect with all these amazing people that really wanted help with their social media. And I thought, okay, there's like a gap in the market here. These business owners are really busy. They really want to get the word out about their business, but they're not sure how to do it the right way. So that's kind of how I fell into the social media world. It was just through a hobby. And then as soon as I got my work permit, I registered for a business license and set up shop, hoping to do social media management for restaurants locally.
That's amazing. I didn't know that it started with kind of your foodie Instagram, and it's so interesting to hear even some similarities. Both Corinne and I, we met your husband, for me, my future husband, in Guatemala, and definitely that weird time, when I moved to Canada, also my partner wasn't able to work. So it is just definitely a bizarre time to be kind of coming, and especially for your partner and yourself, you're such hardworking people that then have to go on pause, and like you said, not so good at being the housewife and trying to keep yourself busy with engaging work. That is what I love about that, is that it was something that you were passionate about and excited about, and then made it into a career for a time being. But restaurant social media marketing is not the core aspect of what you're doing now. So kind of what are you doing now in the world, and how did you shift from restaurant marketing and social media management to where you are now? I ask this because I think it takes a lot of courage and bravery to shift what we're doing, especially when something is going well. Your restaurant marketing was going really well, and you chose to shift anyway, which I think takes a lot of bravery. So I'd love to hear kind of why you made that shift and what that looked like.
Yeah. So, goodness, I mean, it is hard. It is hard to switch things up when things are, financially going well. But I just felt like it wasn't aligned 100% with the lifestyle I wanted to have and the work I wanted to be doing. Coming from the nonprofit world and having that as my background, I would always have had a heart to serve and to show up for others. And I just felt like with bigger businesses, I wasn't really able to have that connection. I still do some social media management work with clients that I really, really love, but I wanted to move more into like Instagram business coaching, because I can have a much bigger connection one-on-one with business owners. And I target towards women business owners. Not to say I won't work with a man, but I want to show up and serve women. I feel like that has been my calling, basically, and I've been able to uncover that through the whole social media process and journey that I've been on. And I think it ties nicely into the nonprofit work that I used to do as well. It's enabled me to kind of show up, be 100% myself, and serve other people that are seeking help. And I just really, really love it so much. So whether it's through one-to-one coaching or group coaching or an online course, I'm able to show up and be there for women that need support as they start their own business journey. And because I've just recently gone through that, I feel like I have a lot of insight and help to give. So it's been a really, really fun journey to go on.
Awesome. Thanks, Corinne. And I definitely can advocate for just you can so tell that your heart is in what you're doing. And I really liked how you said kind of it pulled from that nonprofit mentality of wanting to serve, and now you're just doing it in this different way. And I think that so shows. I think when women are aligned with their purpose, it just radiates out of them, and it really does for you. I follow you on social media. I'm part of your Facebook group. And so I'm really able to see the authenticity that you show up with. And the realness too. I feel like each one of your tips, ideas, videos is so spot on. I'm a woman entrepreneur myself, and Corinne, you and I have shared offline some of my struggles and woes about social media, because I'm not an expert like you. So I've really appreciated such tangible steps that you give, and I feel like you're just such a real human when you're presenting, that it's so relatable. So if you haven't checked out her Facebook page or her social media yet, you need to get there, and I'm sure she will share that with you, and I will put it in the information as well. And one thing that I just really want to say I admire in you is your bravery to shift. And that's a really big thing that I try and encourage people, is like there is no wasted time. And I think a lot of times women, well, all people, they're afraid to give up on something that's no longer serving them, just because they think, oh, I've invested so much time into this business, or this is what I studied in university and it's a waste. But really the only waste is to keep doing it past that point. So I think that's phenomenal. And I'm a firm believer that we always have to go through each step, even if it seems like a side step. You would have never launched your coaching business had you not done the restaurant marketing. So it's just so beautiful to see how it all unfolds. Kind of knowing that, I guess, being a coach for women and women entrepreneurs, what are some of the common, I guess, mistakes or issues that women are coming to you for that you just wish you could, if you could coach every woman in the world right now, like what are some of the key things that you do most of to help women?
Yeah, so I do business coaching through the lens of Instagram, because I think Instagram is such a powerful and free tool. Mm-hmm. And almost all of us already have an Instagram account, be it for your business or on a personal level. So we already know how to use it. We just now need to kind of flip the switch and learn how to use it so it's sustainable and a profitable tool to grow your business. And it's not a huge shift that you need to make. It's not rocket science. I think that there's like 3 main areas maybe. So let me see if I can get through them all if we have enough time. Basically, the first thing I think everyone does need help with is mindset, whether it's money mindset, whether it's confidence, self-belief, self-worth, self-value, or just even have the confidence to show your face on camera or to speak, to camera. I hate how my voice sounds, so I apologize for everyone listening to this. I think it's awful, but I still show up and I still use my voice and I speak to the camera, and I just try to be as real as possible for people on my Instagram account, even though it's my business account. What people want to see is who's behind the business, what is their story, what is your culture, what values do you have? Because by sharing your story and being confident enough to show up on video and connect with people in that way, you're really able to attract the right type of people into your community. And I think helping women see that they have value in what they have to say, and that they have permission to share and show up online, is one really big thing. And that's what I always try and start with in my coaching program, is just to help people see that they should be showing up online and giving them some tips and help with how to do that in a way that feels right to them. And then another thing that I think has been a real challenge is women not charging what they're worth or what they deserve. When we're starting a business, it's very easy, I think, to kind of stick an hourly rate on something and just charge like per hour, or create a package around what you think you're worth per however many hours it's going to take you to do that work. But you're not just giving your time when you're working with a client. You are providing them with peace of mind. You're giving them a quality service. You're providing them with your expertise. Maybe you're going to educate them. You're going to be a reliable go-to person for them to support their business. There's so much more that goes into your offers on your services than just time. And I think that's another big mindset shift we need to make. I try to help women see that they are so much more than just working per the hour. Because ultimately, if you charge more, you can have less clients, which means those clients can have more of your attention and more of your expertise, and you're going to deliver them a fantastic service they're going to be so happy about. And then, they might refer you to somebody else who will be your clients long term. So there's just so many more benefits of charging what you're worth. So working on your money mindset is also super, super important. And then the other thing is just knowing how to use Instagram in a way that feels right to you. There's so many features. You can go on Instagram stories, you can use Reels now, that's a new one. You can just post in the feed. There's so many different ways to interact with that platform. I tried Reels, don't like it. I'm probably not going to use it again. And that's totally fine. I know it's like the new big cool thing, but if you don't like it, don't do it. And likewise, you don't need to post every single day on Instagram. Like, that's overkill, honestly. I do 2 to 3 times a week in my feed max, and I love Instagram stories. So I'm on Instagram stories every single day, whether I'm showing my cute pets, or I'm talking to the camera, or I'm showing people what I'm working on, or I'm just having fun. I want to show up on Instagram stories every day because I really love it. And it's a fantastic way to connect with your dream clients. Big tip here though, if you're using Instagram stories and you're watching other people's, reply to them. If something catches your eye, reply directly from the story. You're going to end up in that person's DMs, and you can start building authentic conversations right from that point. And I think that's like my bonus tip for this interview, is really do engage meaningfully with people. I think too often people are like, oh yeah, I'm engaging. I'm like liking people's posts, and I'm, commenting on their posts. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's enough anymore. You can't just like 3 posts and comment on one in the hopes that someone's going to follow you back. You really want to be engaging with them, watching their stories, watching what they're doing online on an ongoing basis. It's like a long game that you have to play here. And really just build authentic relationships, reply to their stories, start conversations based on things you have in common. Don't try to sell to people straight away. That is a no-go. We are so fed up of people coming into our DMs with a great offer when they know nothing about us. That just turns us off straight away. So definitely just build relationships based on things you have in common that you see from the platform, and just go from there. If that person doesn't end up being a client, maybe you found your biz bestie, or maybe they'll introduce you to somebody that can really help you or benefit you. And when you have real relationships with people, they're much more likely to come back to you and ask for help when they need it.
I was literally writing down certain things that you were saying. That's like I said, every time I check out one of your stories or one of your posts, I always learn something. I find they're so helpful in like a very real way, and not so overwhelming. I guess kind of one question that I would have, being a woman entrepreneur, is you're saying engage with these people. How would you recommend even finding some of these people? I can even speak from my personal experience of using Instagram, and it's not so much now, but when I first started doing my coaching, the only people that would follow me, I felt, were people that were trying to recruit me as a client. Other coaches, coaches of coaches, a lot of social media marketers. So how do you find, the real people that might be future customers, future clients? How do you find them on Instagram?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways. I guess the first one that comes to mind is by using very targeted, very niche hashtags. And this is, so if you are a life coach, say, you're not going to be using hashtags like hashtag life coach or hashtag life coaching tips, because only
I did, and I learned the hard way that you only get followed by other life coaches. So
you're only getting followed by other life coaches or other people in that industry, and that's not who you want to target. So you want to be really thinking about who your dream client is, really understand them. Where do they hang out online? What are their hobbies outside of business? What are their struggles? What are their desires? What do they want for their life and their lifestyles? And use hashtags around that. So for me, for example, yes, I target other social media managers or other entrepreneurs that might need help to really get visible online using Instagram. Um, but I kind of have niched even further, and I really want to target people that are like in that startup phase. Maybe they have a side hustle, or they dream of living a digital nomad lifestyle whenever we can go back to traveling. They want to quit their 9 to 5. So I use hashtags around that, around those kind of ideal like lifestyle changes that my client wants to have, because they're looking at those hashtags, they're engaging with them, they're aspiring to have that lifestyle. So that's where my hashtag kind of game is going, and that way you can connect with people. So understanding your audience is key when it comes to hashtags. And then I also use Facebook to funnel people to my Instagram account. I'm not a huge lover of Facebook. I do have a Facebook group, which is really fun. And I really like showing up and engaging with people in that way. But Instagram is still my jam. It is still my favorite platform to really connect meaningfully with people. But I do use Facebook and Facebook groups to send people over to my Instagram account. So again, you want to show up in Facebook groups and join Facebook groups where your ideal client is hanging out. So, if you want to target people that are into gardening, I don't know why you would, but maybe somebody wants to connect with people who's into gardening, join gardening Facebook groups. Or like me, for example, my group's called the Empowered Entrepreneur Collective. So in there it's for entrepreneurs who want to get together, have a community and feel empowered, and have a space to learn from one another. So again, just show up wherever your ideal client is. And then there's always opportunities in Facebook groups to either share who you are, what you do. Maybe there is like a feature day where you can share your Instagram, or you can share a freebie that you have, or you can, just connect with people that way as well. So, yeah.
So Corinne, one other question I had for you that is, you have really, COVID aside, really moved into the spaciousness of this digital nomad life, of really quitting your 9 to 5. Why was that so important to you? Because I feel like our careers, as much as they give us purpose, deep down, they're also trying to help us kind of create the life of our dreams. And why was it so important to you, to build this company, not only to serve women, but for your own life?
Yeah. I'm going to have a personal answer here. So get ready. No, so I was raised by a single mother, and she passed away when I was 18 and she was only 39. And I'm turning 30 next year. And I kind of like, the closer I get to 39, I'm like, oh my goodness, what if I only have 10 years left? What if I only have 9 years left? And hopefully that's not the case. But I just kind of, from looking at her life and knowing how hard she worked always to provide for me and my sisters, I kind of just wanted to make her proud and also live a life that she wasn't able to. So like after Guatemala and being able to kind of really jump into the nonprofit life. And also then you're also exposed to people that live in extreme poverty and also don't have the opportunities I've been given. That coupled with the story of my mother and just going through like her death and navigating that was, I think now I look back on it, was really the motivating factor for being able to live a life that I absolutely love. And I feel very privileged to be in a position now where I have my own business. It is paying all my bills. We've been able to pay off our debt this year, even during coronavirus. It's absolutely crazy. It's been a crazy like year and a half since I started my business. And it's only now, I think, when I'm, reflecting on everything I've gone through and all the experiences I've had, good and bad, that I can really see now how that has fueled my passion for helping people kind of quit the daily grind of the 9 to 5 and be able to have a more flexible, free life, because we only have one life to live. So it definitely, all my experiences have built into this business now, which is why I'm so passionate about it, and which is why I'm happy to share, because I think it's real life.
Wow, I did not know that about you. That is very beautiful and very inspiring. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And now that you've, created this digital nomad life, again, this might be a hard question to answer because we've been pretty stuck in our homes, but how has kind of life unfolded for you? How does your life, COVID aside, maybe look a bit different since you've been able to kind of shed that 9 to 5
Yeah.
grind?
I'm a reluctantly stationary nomad, I call myself now. I would love to be able to go back to Guatemala, or be able to even go home. I didn't get to go home and see my family this year at all, which has been really, really hard. But yeah, I mean, I never thought that I would be a business owner. It was never in my plan for myself. So now that I have a sustainable business that I absolutely love, I can't complain. I would love to be able to travel, but that's just not possible right now. But I'm very happy here in Utah. I mean, we have, we own a house, which is crazy. I have a dog.
I had
and
no idea you own a house.
Yeah, we
Oh
own.
my gosh, you're such an impressive adult.
I'm such a grown up. I know, I'm married with a dog and a cat and a husband in a house. Yeah, so it's not how I thought it would be my life. Never saw this kind of, never saw it unfolding in this way. But I think that's the beauty of it. You never know what's going to happen. Just like when I moved to Guatemala, I never thought I'd be there 4 years later. So I think it's very important to be flexible, to be open to the opportunities unfolding around you. And I think COVID and whatever has happened this year in 2020 has definitely taught that to a lot more people. You have to be flexible, and you have to just roll with it. You can plan, but you never know if those plans are actually going to come to fruition based on the circumstances surrounding you and your life. So it's totally okay to pivot, and it's totally okay to be living a life you didn't think would be for you. Because in the end, I think what's meant to be is going to happen for you. And I think, yeah, just roll with it. That's my advice, because I had all these plans and none of them happened, but I couldn't be happier.
No, absolutely. I think just having that openness to opportunity is so crucial. And I can definitely relate that some of the most amazing opportunities of my life happened when I was kind of busy doing something else, but then
Yeah.
it just kind of unfolded. So I think that's really beautiful, that message of just being open to what happens. And so now I know that a lot of people won't watch this until, or listen to this until January or beyond, but we are filming this actually in December. It's like the year-end energy, both with like close to burnout and also that like inspiration to create new things. So I'd love to hear kind of what you have coming down the pipeline for 2021. I'm sure if people have been listening to this, they're really kind of moved. Even I know you, and I'm still jotting down notes of ideas. So what do you have coming out in 2021 to support women entrepreneurs, specifically with Instagram marketing?
Yeah, so this is my plan right now. Like I just said, things can change. But right now I'm actually really excited because I'm working on my first ever online course. So in my coaching program, I have worked one-to-one with women, and I've done a group coaching program as well, which has more of a community feel. But I just wanted to be able to reach more people, because as one person, your one-to-one spots or your group coaching programs are limited because they need you to be there. They need your time. So I thought, okay, how can I reach more people? How can I increase my impact and serve more people in 2021? So I thought, okay, online course, it's the way to go. So I am building an online course. It's called the Instagram Money Making Blueprint. And it's basically just a 3-module program that teaches service-based entrepreneurs and coaches how to really harness the power of Instagram and create a sustainable, enjoyable, and profitable business off the back of this free platform. And I'm really excited for it. It has, I guess it's a holistic approach to business and Instagram. So we look at goal setting, we look at mindset, and really getting you to be confident enough to show up online and speak directly to your target audience. So along with all the good mindset stuff, we also have tangible Instagram tactics. And then the last thing, like before you kind of finish up the course, I do a deep dive on like the psychology of selling and how you can really use like psychology practices to connect with people and sell your services to them in like a non-salesy icky way, in a really like authentic way, because there's nothing worse, like I said earlier, than people just using Instagram to sell. And while it can be used to scale your business, it can be done in a way that feels really, really nice and feels empowering to the people buying from you. So that's kind of the focus of the course. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So I definitely want to be checking it out. So do we just kind of follow your Instagram to stay up to date on when that's happening? And if so, where would we find you on Instagram and Facebook?
Yeah, so my Facebook group is called the Empowered Entrepreneur Collective. So if you feel like you'd be a good fit for that community, definitely just type the Empowered Entrepreneur Collective into Facebook and I'll pop up. And then my Instagram is at hone.your.social. So that's where you can find me on Instagram. And I also have an Instagram freebie, an Instagram engagement boosting freebie. So if you want to sign up for that, you'll get on my email list, and you'll also be kept up to speed on all the things going on behind the scenes here via email as well. So definitely come and say hello to me. Let me know you heard me here chatting with Danielle. I'd love to know that you listened in. And if you've any questions, just let me know.
Great. And there's actually one more thing, and I'm not sure if it's still available, but one thing I received from you actually was an Instagram story toolkit, and it was so helpful for me. I actually have it printed out here because I'm not a social media expert. It's still not fully in my comfort zone. And stories especially intimidated me a lot. So your toolkit was extremely helpful in building confidence and also generating ideas for what the heck to say and do on a story. So do you want to speak a little about that if it's still available? Because for me, it was an incredible resource.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, definitely. So what is it called? The Ultimate Guide to Instagram Stories is what it's called. And it's my first ever digital product. So one thing I didn't touch on in this interview, but I can really briefly now, is that it's super important to diversify what you offer. So for me as a coach, I still have my social media management clients. I have one-to-one coaching, group coaching, the online course coming, and I have this digital product. So there's all these different revenue streams in my business, which helps it feel much more manageable and sustainable long term. So the Ultimate Guide to Instagram Stories was my first toe in the water into the digital product world. And yeah, it has 365 ideas for your Instagram stories. I really wanted to make it as useful as possible. And because I'm always saying that you should show up on Instagram stories daily, I wanted to make that really easy for people. So I spent a long time figuring out all these different Instagram story ideas for you, and it's all in the guide or the toolkit. So maybe I'll give Danielle the link and she can share it in the podcast notes or something like that. But I'm glad, Danielle, that it was so helpful for you.
It's great. I still use it when I'm sitting there and don't know what to post about, so I so appreciate it. So just before we wrap up, Corinne, I was just gonna check in. You know, you've shared some of the big things that you're creating for 2021. It is the end of the year for us, so just to kind of wrap things up, what's one goal or one thing that really excites you for 2021 that maybe isn't business related, but one thing that you're looking forward to or hoping to achieve in the year to come?
Yeah, great question. For me, it's being able to go home and see my family again. So this is the longest I've ever gone without going back home to Ireland. And obviously I have my new family here with my husband and our fur babies, but there's something really special about being able to reconnect with old friends and just be around your family physically, that we've really missed this year. So I'm really excited for that. I plan to go home for at least the whole month of July. I'm going to be turning 30 and two of my best friends are getting married. So it's going to be a month of parties. I hope that it can happen. So that's really what I'm working towards at the minute.
Oh, that's so exciting. I am sending all the positive energy, well, to the world that we're all able to travel at that time and meet in groups, but that would just be so lovely for you. I can't imagine what this has been like for people that are separated from their families. So my heart is definitely with people like yourself that are so far away from them for so long. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on? Any other things that you want to share that we maybe didn't cover today? I definitely want to pick your brain again another time, but any small pieces that you were hoping to share today that we haven't covered?
Um, I mean, I could talk for hours on Instagram and business and all that good stuff. But I think the, I don't know, one of the biggest takeaways I've learned is that if you have like a dream in your head or on your heart, take action on it, because time is going to pass by anyway. And if you don't start doing something now, you never know where you can end up. I mean, like we said, time goes so quickly, and you have to be open to the opportunities that unfold. And I think just take action. I know it's the end of the year and we always head into a new year full of resolutions, but I would urge you to really just take action on whatever that dream is. You know, whether it's you want to start a business and you want to quit your job, or you want to travel, you want to volunteer, or whatever it is, just take action on it. That's my Christmas wish for you, or my New Year's wish. Take action on whatever is on your heart to do.
I love it. I love it. I definitely kind of perpetuate the same message, as I think everyone's always waiting for this like stroke of genius, clarity, or confidence, and it just doesn't always happen. So just take action anyway. So I love that. So thank you, Corinne. I guess that's everything. So thank you so much for dedicating your time and energy. It's always so great to connect with you and to see your beautiful face and hear your wisdom. You've just been such a support to me, and I know so many women, and I hope that those listening can definitely continue to tap into your wisdom by following you along at Hone Your Social on Instagram. And thank you again so much for being here, and I hope we can connect again soon.
Definitely. It was an absolute pleasure to be here, and I hope in all of my ramblings there was some good messages to be taken away from. So thank you so much for having me.
It was awesome. Thank you. See ya.